Hey guys, Danny here from the Lassercast with
Charlotte.
And what is coming up this week? Why are you doing that?
Because it's Friday the 13th.
Ah, that's right. It is Friday the 13th, and I have been
Well, it's not today.
breaking out. Yeah, not today. This coming Friday. I've been breaking out this wonderful new box set that I got last year, and Charlotte and I have been going through the first 4 films in the franchise. Now, we watched Friday the 13th, the original, a while ago, and you didn't really like it that much, did you? Why not?
I didn't say I hated it, but it wasn't the best.
And what was the main reason you were disappointed by it?
Because it doesn't have Jason in it. All it has is his psycho mother.
That's right. Although you have seen Scream, and remember at the beginning of Scream, he asks the girl a trivia question. He goes, "Who was the killer in Friday the 13th?" And she goes, "Jason, Jason." He goes, "Wrong answer. So you should have known that." So obviously, Jason is not the killer in the first Friday the 13th. And here's something you probably didn't know. The original director, Sean Cunningham, and you know who Tom Savini is. Tom Savini did the makeup for Jason when he jumps out of the water at the end of the original movie. When they came back and said, we're going to do a Friday the 13th Part 2 with Jason, they originally were like, that's the dumbest idea we've ever heard. He can't be alive. And they didn't even want to do it. So the fact that Jason is even this prolific killer in slasher movies is kind of like an accident almost. But then we watched parts 2, 3, and 4 this week. Actually, I think the last 3 of them in a row in the last 3 days. And you finally got to see...
Part 4.
Well, you got to see Jason on screen as a killer.
Oh.
So what did you think about part 2?
Part 2, it was honestly my favorite because, one, you get to see Jason. Yeah, he's not in his normal hockey mask, but it was still good. Spoiler.
Well, and that's the other thing, is that you said his usual hockey mask. He doesn't get his hockey mask until...
Part 3.
Yeah, so there was no usual anything. In fact, the sack that he wears in part 2, I think I told you this when we were watching it, there was another horror movie called The Town That Dreaded Sundown, where the killer in that movie wears almost the exact same outfit. And that came out before Friday the 13th Part 2. So it was kind of like they were ripping that off a little bit. But I really like Part 2. And I wanted her to watch Part 2 specifically because this weekend we are going to Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, Monster Mania 46. We're going to have another video about that. But Amy Steele, who plays Ginny, the final girl. John Fury, I believe his name is, who plays the final guy in that movie. What was his name? Paul?
Paul.
Was it Paul?
Ginny's
boyfriend.
Yeah.
Paul. Yeah. And one of the other actresses, the girl who wanted to make out with the guy in the wheelchair. That act.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all going to be at Monster Mania.
The purple one who went up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But shot in the leg. Something scraped on the leg?
Yes. So I wanted her to watch part 2 because of that. And yeah, part 2, what was your favorite kill in part 2?
That's hard.
Well, what did you told me one the other day.
The wheelchair dude.
Yeah, the Mark is his name. The character, he's in a wheelchair. There are certain things that are really weird about these first few Friday the 13th movies. It's like, usually you see a character with a disability like that in a horror movie, and you kind of think to yourself, well, that character's going to be safe because they would never kill the person in a wheelchair. Nope. Friday the 13th Part 2, he gets a machete to the face and goes...
I think it was an axe.
He gets something sharp to the face, and then he goes flying backwards down the steps. Yeah. I know.
That actually kind of seems...
Yeah. What did you think about the girl who survived Part 1?
Oh, Like,
At the
well, she survived, and pretty much the reason why Jason killed her was because she killed his mom.
Yeah, she survives part 1, and then 10 minutes into the second movie, she...
More like 10 seconds.
It's a lot longer than I remember, that whole intro part, which is a little weird, but really love part 2. I also really like part 2 because part 2... But part 2 is great because the counselors in the movie are actually counselors. They're there to set up a camp, whereas like parts 3 and 4 are just about groups of kids who show up to like a house by Crystal Lake, and Jason goes and kills them. Part 2 is actually about camp counselors, which is kind of what the movies are supposed to be about. Camp Crystal Lake, right? So yeah, part 3. And part 3 has a lot of issues for me. What did you like about part 3?
Thought it was in 3D. Well, not for us, but
yeah,
it was originally in 3D, and I liked how like it popped out.
Yeah, there's so many parts of that movie that are so obvious, even if you're not watching it in 3D, that are made to where things are just sticking out at the camera, and you're like, whoa.
Like there was like a bat in the intro.
Oh,
that was, like, sticking out.
And then there's also the crazy that dumb scene with the popcorn, where the guy's popping the popcorn and the kernels are going up into the screen.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, and then of course there's the guy at the end with the
eye. Oh, I did mention that.
Yeah,
that was a very bad one.
Well, I rewound.
Rewound?
That's an old word from the old days with VHS tapes. Don't worry about it. Yes, I went back and I played the scene again where the guy gets his head crushed and the eye comes out, and I showed her how fake the head looks on.
And you could see like the string going. Like,
and it's so bad. There's so many scenes in that movie. At one point, Richard Brooker, who plays Jason in part 3, I think he throws a knife at a door, and you could see the string on the knife where like it guides it to the door.
Exactly.
There's also so many characters that I just don't really get the point. Like those two characters who all they do is smoke weed. They look like they're like 50 years old, and they're hanging out with like this group of like 20 something.
Who?
You know, the guy and the girl who are smoking.
Oh yeah.
Those two. They're
when
like,
I said that looked like the bald guy from Stranger Things?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah. They don't belong in that movie. And then there's the biker gang.
Yeah, like, I didn't understand them. Like, they should have got the scene with Shelly and the other girl and just left and shouldn't have been a character.
Yeah, I feel like part 3, they were basically just like, okay, we killed X number of people in part 2. So we need a reason for there to be more than one carload of people to kill. So the movie starts, you remember, and they kill those 2 people who own the restaurant. Mm-hmm. Then there's the biker gang that gets killed. That's only in this movie to be killed.
Well, the tall dude doesn't get killed until like the very end.
Oh yeah, they like fake you out to think he's dead. Then he comes back and you're like, oh, he's alive.
And he's dead.
And he's dead. Like, literally, he's like, ha-ha. And that's it. And you're like, they kept him alive for that? Oh, man.
That's kind of what I liked about this movie.
So they make you think. Also, the ending is super confusing because remember at the end of part 3, she takes the canoe out and like they do like that.
Like, who was that? Was that the girl who got shot in the eye?
No. You mean like that like creepy zombie woman that was supposed to be like Jason's mom?
What?
But like it was all in her head. The whole thing. It was like part 3 is basically they try to like rip off the ending of the original movie. I don't know. Part 3, I do like Richard Brooker, the actor who played Jason. You were just talking to me on the couch before while we were watching part 4 about why it took so long for them to get like the same, like why didn't the same actor just play Jason in every movie, right? Why do you think, like, did you notice a difference between the Jasons in, aside from obviously part 2, they had the bag on his head. Did you notice, like, which Jason you liked better, part 2, 3, or 4? Did you notice a difference between the way, because like parts 3 and 4, they both had the hockey mask. So did you notice a difference? Like if I didn't tell you those are 2 different actors, would you have known? Probably not, right?
I mean, but part 2 has a different actor who jumps in the window without the face.
I told you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Like, I was, like, asking, like, why can't it be, like, Nightmare on Elm Street where they kept,
Robert Englund.
Robert Englund.
She called him Ronald Reagan before.
Don't know how to tell that.
She was like, I really like in Nightmare on Elm Street that Ronald Reagan is... I'm like, no.
Stop telling it.
That would have been a very different movie.
That Robert
Nancy
Englund.
Thompson, tear down these dream
We're not
walls.
talking about
Oh,
Nightmare.
sorry.
Like, why can't it be like Nightmare on Elm Street?
Well,
And they have
and
the same actor.
listen, I know this is about the Friday the 13th movies, but I am a forever Freddy fan, and I told you, the obvious difference is Freddy talks and has a personality, and because he talks, you need to have the same actor with the same voice and the same personality. Jason and also Michael Myers in the Halloween movies, they're just kind of masked killers. So if you're a big physical person, a stuntman who can do that job. Now, later on in the franchise, we will of course get to Kane Hodder, who is the only Jason to get multiple times. He does 4 consecutive movies between
And
7.
he's the most famous one.
He is the most famous one because he brings a different physicality to the role, though. If you get to part 7, which we will, you'll notice what he does differently than almost every
I thought he
other
played in
Jason
part
actor.
6.
No, that's C.J. Graham, who's also great. He's one. I will say parts 3 and 4 have phenomenal Jasons. Richard Brooker, who passed away a few years ago, was fantastic in part 3. He was so big and imposing. And then Ted White, who I believe is still alive at 95 years old. I think he's the oldest living cast member of the Friday franchise. He also was fantastic. Also brought like a real raw physicality to the performance, even with the mask on. And the makeup they use is great too. Speaking of makeup, we get to part 4, the final chapter, which I told Charlotte was actually supposed to be the final chapter. So what did you like about part 4?
That, like, I liked that, I mean, the actor situation. That was cool.
What actor situation?
The boy from the Goonies mouth. The stupid kid.
Corey Feldman, who plays Mouth in the Goonies.
And he's played Tommy. This is before Goonies, right?
It's, this movie came out in 84, so it was probably filmed in 83. So yeah, it was probably a year or 2 before the Goonies.
And then the dad from Back to the Future.
Crispin Glover, who plays George McFly, Marty's dad in Back to the Future, of course, does the amazing Jimmy, and does the amazing dance sequence. I have to take my glasses off because his hair just flies up. I'm going to hurt my neck if I try to imitate Jimmy's dance, but there's a lot of like, it's so good. It's one of the best 20 to 30 second scenes you'll ever see in a movie. So I didn't realize until I was watching Friday the 13th part 4, the final chapter, with my almost 11-year-old daughter, this movie is nearly every character in this movie is just taking their clothes off, talking about sex, or wanting to have sex. And it's a little awkward watching it with a young person, but Charlotte does know what skinny dipping is now. She's never going to do it.
Great.
But this movie has some really good kills, right? what was your favorite kill in this movie?
Maybe Shower Dude.
Oh, yeah. That's nobody ever talks about that, but the guy in the shower who gets his face crushed up against the wall, that's some good special effects right there.
The dude... Wait, the shower dude wasn't...
Jimmy? No.
No. Jimmy was the one who got his hand burned or something.
He got his hand hit with the corkscrew and then...
Ow.
The hatchet to the face.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Hatchet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he gets a good death. Crispin Glover in this movie. Really good. So many of the deaths in this movie are great. The one of the twins who gets pulled out the window and just launched.
Yeah.
That's a great scene. Great music, of course, from Harry Manfredini. Now, what's interesting is that this movie was legitimately called The Final Chapter because they wanted to kill Jason, and they did. He's dead. Jason is dead.
He is?
Yes, he's dead.
Then...
Tom Savini comes back just to kill the character that he created a few years earlier. The machete to the face. He slides down the machete.
But...
Well, you'll
Is he a zombie?
I won't tell you, but they do explain how Jason comes back.
Is he Pennywise?
No, but you're on the right track.
Is he a demon?
No. You are on the right track with your guessing because he does come back at some point in the future. But for those of you who are like, I've seen this argument on Twitter a lot where people are like, Jason can't die. I'm like, yes, he can. He was killed by an 11-year-old boy. Because Tommy Jarvis kills him in part 4. Deader than a doornail. And
he disturbs me in that part.
Oh, when he
shaves his head. Why? His mom wasn't bald.
Well, no, he was trying to like confuse Jason into thinking that he was Jason. That like because you saw he had the picture of Jason in the mirror as like a boy with like no hair, so he shaved his head to look like Jason.
Oh.
But I do agree, it's a very strange. That also kind of reminds us of Ginny in part 2, who pretends to be Jason's mother. By the way, Charlotte is the worst at identifying the final girls. In part 2, we're watching part 2.
I was like, oh,
Ginny goes off at the very beginning of the movie. Ginny goes off by herself. She's like, well, she's going to die first. Ginny's the final girl. In part 3, Chris goes off by herself. She's like, oh, she's going to die. I'm like, she's also the final girl.
Wait,
so,
Chris?
Wasn't that her name in part 3? The main girl in part 3 who hits him with the axe. I love... Oh, you know what else was funny about part 2? Was part 2 has a character who's like the goofy comedy relief sidekick character. I think his name is Ted in the movie. And he goes drinking with Paul and Ginny in the middle of the movie.
Oh yeah!
And he just decides, they're like, we're going back to the camp. He's like, nah, I'm going to stay at the bar and hang around.
And not get killed by Jason Voorhees.
And he survives. And I'm like, nobody ever brings this character up. But he gives the blueprint for how to survive a slasher movie.
Don't go back to camp.
You leave the area where the killing takes place, and you just go and have a few drinks and party.
Okay, I won't say that.
All the way far away from where the killer is. It's so funny. He's basically like,
Wait, so like, this is how we do it. It's like, oh, well, I guess he's gone now. A few moments later. Is that the bar?
Yeah.
He's alive!
Like, it's so great. Like, he's this character. He's the guy who, around the campfire scene where Paul tells everybody the story of Jason, he's the one that jumps out in the mask and scares everybody.
That mask is
and you're
important.
you're just waiting for him to be like the first guy to die.
Yeah.
Because in part 3, you have a comedy relief character. You have Shelley, who brings the mask, the hockey mask, and he scares everybody and he fakes his own and he dies. You have also comedy relief characters. You have, oh God, you have Teddy Bear, the Teddy Bear dude in part 4, who's comedy relief.
Wait, who?
The guy who he's
the
always
projector?
yeah, who's always laughing, and I'm just like, ugh.
You
I'm
said,
so
like,
happy that
God.
Jason stabbed him in the head. Oh my God.
Me too, kind of.
But yeah, he was the comedy relief character, and he dies. And that's like a trope in horror movies. The comedy relief character always dies, but not in Friday the 13th Part 2.
That's what I liked about him.
I know. So, real quick, we've watched the first 4 movies in the Friday the 13th franchise. Let's rank them real fast.
Rank them!
Because Friday the 13th is coming. It's we're filming this video on Wednesday the 11th. It's going to go up. You'll probably watch this tomorrow on Thursday the 12th.
Wait,
So,
game show style.
okay.
Ranking time.
Ranking time. From which, go in order from favorite to least favorite.
Okay, so I know I said this earlier, but I'm going to switch them up. I like 2, 4, 1, 3. I know I said I didn't really like 1, but 3 is just more terrible than 1. Because 1's an original.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, everything that we like, the whole slasher, the whole, the music, the whole vibe of the franchise is all because of part 1. So
what
yeah.
What do you say? Cha-cha-cha, ha-ha-ha.
That's what it sounds like, but apparently it's supposed to be
Ma.
because it's supposed to be like kill for mama. Kill, so it's like K-I from kill and then ma from ma. Yeah. I have the exact same ranking as you. 2, 4, 1, and 3. 2 and 4 are 2 of my favorite of the entire Friday
But you like 6.
franchise. Yes, we haven't gotten to my favorite. My favorite, and the favorite of many others, is Part 6, Jason Lives. And you'll be interested to know the character of Tommy Jarvis, the character of the little boy who kills him, is the main character of Parts 5 and 6.
Ow! My toe.
Oh. Jason got her toe.
No.
All right, so this has been Danny and Charlotte from the Lassercast, and we are wishing you all a very happy... Well, not yet. We're wishing you a very happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Leave in the comments what are your favorite Friday the 13th movies. We're going to watch the rest of the series on Blu-ray as we get to them. Of the first 4, which are your favorites? What are your favorite kills? Let us know all those things, and we will see you
Next time.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.